Thanks, George. All right, we will call to order the Bedford Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, special meeting for August 17th. Do the introduction of the members. We'll start with, I guess I'll go around and have everyone just kind of say who they are. I'll go to Bob first.
Bob Potter, I'm an alternate for this evening.
Go to Dennis.
I'm Dennis Kohler, the building inspector of Bedford Township. There's no Dennis Jenkins.
There's another Dennis, the other Dennis, no problem.
Dennis Jenkins, Planning Commission representative.
Kyle.
Kyle Dersch, vice chairman.
We'll go to Jeff.
Jeff Wilson, BZA member.
And then Karen.
Karen Kincaid,
Jody.
Jody Rector, planning and zoning.
And Phil.
Phil Goldsmith, township attorney.
This is Jake Lake, chair. All right, with that, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which will be the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'll just get us started off here. If you can face a flag wherever you're at. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, thanks everybody. Karen, if you would please call the roll.
Mr. Dersch.
Aye.
Mr. Jenkins.
Here.
Mr. Lake.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Potter.
Here.
Rick Steiner is excused.
Thank you. Move on to the next, which is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to the next part, which would be approval of the minutes of the August 3rd meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to the next piece of business, and it is new business. And what I'll be looking for right now is a motion to open the appeal of April Villanueva at 6949 Deer Ridge Drive, requesting a plus or minus 5 foot separation setback variance between a pool and existing dwelling. Do we have the applicant on the line? Is there Mrs. Villanueva or somebody representing them?
Yes, I'm him.
Great, thank you. All right, do we have a motion to open the public hearing then?
So moved.
Do we have support?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Karen, if you would, can you give us the rundown?
Yes, again, the applicant is April Villanueva, 6949 Deer Ridge Drive. That's Temperance. The variance location is the same, 0.276 acre. Current zoning is PUD plan unit development with the underlying zoning of R2A single family residential. And again, the variance request is for a 5 foot separation setback variance. The applicant is seeking a plus or minus 5 foot separation setback variance to an existing dwelling to install an in-ground pool on a corner lot, which is Deer Ridge and Grand Oak Drive. Section 400.401.7D. It states no swimming pool wall should be located less than 35 feet from any existing dwelling unit on a abutting property. The proposed location of the pool is 30 feet from the nearest portion of the neighboring dwelling to the south, thus requiring a plus or minus 5 foot side yard setback variance to an abutting property line. At this time, the planning department has received 2 calls with uncertainty of the shown setback from the home to the west and south, and the setback from the pool wall to the westerly property line is shown on the submitted plot plan, meeting the requirements by ordinance. The planning department reached out to the applicant, and after further discussion with the applicant regarding the neighbors' concerns, the applicant supplied additional information and pictures of the proposed layout and setbacks for the location of the pool, and those pictures were included in your packet. Should the variance request be granted, the variance required is a plus or minus 5-foot separation setback variance from an existing dwelling unit on a budding property. We did receive a letter, originally we received a letter from the owners to the south where the setback variance is being required. It was amended, so I believe in your packet you did have a copy of the original that was sent dated August 8th from Andrew and Mackenzie Mosley. And you had an opportunity, hopefully, to read that. After she spoke with Dennis Kohler, the concern she was the concrete could, not saying it will, but it could go up to the property line. There is no setback for the concrete surrounding the pool. It is a pool wall. We don't have the plan yet submitted on what is being proposed for the actual location of the concrete. But I am going to read this letter because you do not have it in your packet. Jody, thank you so much for your quick response. Dennis called this morning and left a message with an answer about the concrete stating that it can go right up to our property line. If you could add this letter that we do not wish to approve the 5-feet variance, we would appreciate it. We aren't sure that we have to approve anything, but want it known that it would be against our wishes. If we need to write another letter, please let us know. Thanks and have a great night. Mackenzie and Andy Mosley. That was submitted to us on Wednesday, August 12th, after your packets went out. Originally, the letter that you have in your packet had some questions, and this was the letter that was provided after she received the answers she was seeking. I think that's all.
Thank you, Karen. Mrs. Villanueva, if you're on, if there's anything else you'd like to add to what Mrs. Kincaid had stated, please go ahead and state that now.
Not really. I mean, I think she said it all.
Okay, great. All right. Let's see. Is there anyone on the phone that would like to make a comment? George, do we have any other callers? Okay. Hello. If there's anyone that would like to make a comment on the variance. Oh, sure. If there's anyone that wants to make a comment, if you could state your name and address for the record and then make your comment, please. Do we have anyone on the phone that would like to make a comment on the setback variance for the pool at 6949 Deer Ridge Drive?
Hi. Yeah, hi, sorry, this is Andrea Sperry calling. So I'm sorry, I had a problem getting in. So was the letter received to the township department?
I'm sorry, could you restate your name and address for the record, please?
Andrea Sperry, 709 Grand Oak Drive.
Thank you. I don't know if there, Karen or Jody, is there a letter from Mrs. Sperry?
I did not receive one.
We did not receive a letter. The only letter that we received was from Andrew and Mackenzie Mosley.
So I sent a communication note on Thursday to Jody Rector.
To my
And
email.
actually, yes, to your email, and I have confirmation it went through.
I apologize. I never received it on Thursday. I only received the one from Mrs. Mosley.
I would say if you want to get your letter on the record now, if you want to state what your comments were in that letter for the record, this is open comments and it will be in the notes.
All right, I can read my, yeah, sure. Okay. So do you want me to read the letter?
If you would like, yeah, that way we can make sure it's in the record and we'll all get a chance to hear what you have to say.
Okay. All right, it said, in regards to my immediate neighbor of 6949, I do see some concerns in regards to a request of a variance. Corner lots come with certain benefits and restrictions, and building is one of these restrictions. We chose our lot with our building's pool based on zoning, easements, property lines, etc. I assume all property owners would do the same purchasing their lots. An example of my property is it butts against 5 property lines. 4 of these properties have trampolines. 3 of the trampolines touch my property line. They've got screaming kids any given day from any trampoline, and some are vulgar, which I have to look forward to as a neighbor's pool butting up against the property line. My expectation is that all property owners adhere to zoning, easement, and building codes within reason and without impeding another property owner. In this specific instance of 6949, elevation of the pool will alter the grade runoff of the water directly to the south and west property owners, home and property. It will not affect runoff onto the road. Pool being positioned elongate along the western property would need to meet easement and zoning. Will they then be seeking a variance for this if it does not currently meet it? If they choose to position close to the property line, then currently permitted. Pool being placed as close to property line as indicated in the schematic, shifting the noise level from immediate backyard, now it's spilling into the surrounding yard. What is the allowance for the cement surround in regards to the property line? Can the cement butt the pool against the property line? And speaking with the homeowner, they indicated it would not be any issue to move their gazebo/cement pad, but this option seems to have changed. I've reviewed the specs on the property and plotted out a pool, etc. And from my understanding, this variance request seems to be based on a preference by the homeowner rather than from necessity for placement of the pool, placing it out of their line of sight from their home and directly into the neighbors. There appears to be ample room to accommodate a pool horizontally placed in their backyard. Read gazebo cement pad comment above. And I hope the Bedford Committee and my neighbors come to a happy resolution for all for the construction and placement of their pool. Because don't get me wrong, we want them to have a pool. We just don't want it along the property lines or without variance. Because I have to take into consideration one variance from one neighbor can then multiply into 5 variances for my neighbors. And I don't want 5 pools butting up against my property the way I have 4 trampolines butting up against my property. So I can re-forward this to Jody and to Karen, and please confirm receipt of the email.
I was gonna ask, could we confirm what email you have that you sent it to? Because I truly apologize, I did not receive the email, even if it said confirmed. I just want to make sure you have the correct email address.
So it's what you sent to me, so let me see it.
Because I know I spoke to you on the phone, and you
Right.
voiced your concerns.
I have jrector@bedfordmi.org.
Yes, and I apologize, I did not receive it. I will, again, look my email, but if you could resend it, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yep, I will.
Thank you.
So, and just to be clear, we want our neighbors to get a pool and enjoy it and everything. We just want the variances to be followed, that's all.
Thank you. Karen, did you have another comment?
I did. If I could just confirm, the 709 Grand Oak, that is the property immediately to the west of the subject variance property. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and no variance is being sought from your property at this time. Is that correct? I believe no setback variances. I'm just confirming. Were you under the assumption that a variance is being sought from your property line as well?
No, so there's no variance being, but whether or not the easement and setbacks are being adhered to, that may be a different story.
Okay, I just wanted to offer clarification.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. George, do we have any other callers on the line? Thank you, George. All right. Seeing that we've got comments out there, and we do not have any other folks on the line, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing. Is everybody on mute? Do you have a
To get a
motion?
motion.
Yeah, I'd
I'll
like to
make
get a
that
motion.
motion.
Thank you. We got a second?
Second.
And all in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
All right. So we'll close the public hearing. We'll open it up for discussion here. Ms. Villanueva, please hang on the line. We might have some additional questions for you as well. So I appreciate if you hang on.
Okay.
All right. Would anyone like to open up with some discussion around this or any additional questions for Ms. Villanueva or anybody else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Bob. It seems to me from the drawing, the pool, there's two alternatives here. The pool could be moved slightly to the northwest to obtain the 35 feet space between the south house and the edge of the pool and still maintain at least 35 feet from the other neighbor and the other corner of the pool. Granted, the pool would be closer to the house than what they have, but it would still fit within their property and a variance would not be needed. Or the second alternative is just make this pool a little bit smaller.
Discussion. Mr. Potter, yeah, I looked at that as well. I thought, you could reduce the size of the pool, but what I looked at is I wanted to figure out what a typical range of a pool is. So I did of course, Google's great for understanding some of that. And what I found was a typical range of a pool is between 10 by 20 feet to 20 by 40 feet. So what they're asking is any typical range. And then the narrower you get, the more it becomes more of a lap pool than it is like a recreational pool. And I guess that would be my first question for Ms. Villanueva. I mean, what is the intended use of the pool, just so we understand what that would be?
For recreational for our family, we have 3 kids, 14, 10, and 7.
And just so I know as well, I mean, how many swimmers do you ever imagine being in the pool at any one given time?
I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, pretty much just for our family, except for special occasions when we may have people over.
Okay. And then orientation is one thing, but what about the shape of the pool? I mean, right now it looks like you're planning for a rectangular shaped pool, but if there
Right.
were some different shapes considered, I don't know if that was considered or looked at, or if you've got any comments on, the shape.
Yeah, the more, like the 16 by 32 is, he told me it was the average size. And if you make it, say narrower or an odd shape, then the cost goes up.
So the shape is really more of a cost consideration as opposed to anything of that nature. And really, whoever gave you the estimate on the pool, it sounds like they recommended 16 by 32 as it is more of an average size.
Yeah, because when we found out about the 35-foot rule, that it would have to be 35 foot from the neighbor, we had thought about downsizing to 14 by 28. But the owner of Perfect 10 Pools is who's going to put it in. And he said that for a family our size, he would hate to see us have to go that small. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, he'd hate to see us go that small for a family our size. So, I mean, I just kind of took his word and I said, we'll try to get the variance.
And then Mr. Potter asked a good question. If we were to switch the orientation, it looks like it obviously would cut into your patio a bit there, but would that work? And that's maybe a question for Dennis, because I think the front of the pool might stick out beyond the front of the house there, since it's a corner lot. Would that be an issue?
Right, the pool should be behind the wall of the house in two directions, right? So it's on a corner lot. So the house is a building line and the pool is supposed to be behind that. So
So if they
they
were to
could
flip,
line, they could flip it and then take a line straight along Grand Oak, straight down from the house. You know, so they could go where the cement patio is and the gazebo is. They could line the pool up there. They could turn it 90 degrees, but again, it's
The only problem with that is that would put it even closer to the house to the south.
correct. You're putting the swimming people closer to the neighbors.
Mm-hmm, right.
and then also, I don't know, because I didn't measure it, of course, but if you had 32 feet of pool from where they would need it out, it looks like as if it would go beyond the edge of the house or the line of the house, almost even going into the front yard a bit. And I don't know if that's obviously not allowable.
Correct. You can't go in front of the house. I see what you're saying. From the 10-foot setback, would it go in front of the house? Yeah. I don't know which dimension she really has from the side property line to where 32 feet would take that.
Any other discussion, questions in the group?
Can we, excuse me, just to clarify again, the first point made about potentially moving the pool to the northwest. How far, I guess, and it's kind of, I don't know if it's entirely to scale, but how far would it have to move? And if it were to move, would we be running too close? Is it a 5-foot setback from the fence to the west?
10 feet.
10 feet. All right.
10 foot is the minimum. She's got it at the minimum right now.
Yep. Okay. So you run into one. You may run into, depending how you move it, I guess you may run into another problem.
Correct.
So I think what we're running into is if you flip the pool by 90 degrees, it potentially with the 32 feet goes beyond the edge of the house, which would then put the pool somewhat in what would be called a front yard, since it is a corner lot. If you adjust the size, you start to get to a size at which it diminishes how many swimmers you can have in the pool as well. And when you start to change the shape, you add additional cost to the pool. You go away from a rectangle and you start to change the shape, whatever shape that may be. You start to adjust the costs, and it becomes more of a costly endeavor to put in.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
another question from Bob. How, it might have been discussed already, but what's the minimum distance between the house and the pool?
7 feet's the minimum setback
7.
between a house
Okay.
and a pool.
So if we went directly north, we still wouldn't we'd only gain 4 feet out of the 5 needed.
Correct.
If the pool was rotated 90 degrees, the house itself looks like it's about 35 feet deep from Deer Ridge Drive, that front to the back. So that's 3 feet more than what the length of the pool is. So the pool could still be behind the front face of the home.
Ms. Villan, I have a question for you. If the pool was flipped on a 90-degree angle where you'd have the length running behind the house there, has that been discussed with the pool company at all? I mean, what does that do to you if you were to move it that direction?
That would just put it right on the fence line to the south. Like we have the cement patio and it would have to go right after that, but there would not be much room. There wouldn't be able to be 10 feet from the property line to the south.
So I don't have the map in front of me. The home, how far is the home from the property line right now? Is the home 10 feet from the property line?
It's 52 foot 9 inches. It looks like on that one site plan, plot plan.
Yeah,
Looks
Mr.
like so.
Chair, I think to exercise the option of rotating at 90 degrees, part of that cement patio would probably have to go away, if not all of it, to make that work.
And the gazebo on top of it.
Yeah, if it looks, if it's 53 feet, then, right, with if you take out if the pool's 32, and then you have the one image that I have is showing 8 feet from the house. So there you're 40. So you're, at this point, it looks like that the distance in the way that they're looking to put it in there now, you're somewhere around, I would guess, 13 or so feet from the fence line. So if you were to turn it, I don't know, I see, yeah, it looks to me like the same, like you may run into the same issue with a variance to the south, right? Unless you were to do something with patio?
Right.
Yep. Because I don't know if everything's entirely to scale, but the image that I'm looking on, which is a Google image with kind of a hand-drawn sketch, it looks to me like if you just turn that and you did not move the or do something with the patio, it almost to me looks as if you're making the situation worse in terms of the variance
Right.
required. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's hard to say
The
because
house
of
is
the
south.
dimensions on the patio.
right.
Yeah, the patio is like 20 feet, 22 by 21. So it's pretty big.
The other thing about the patio is to get the pool constructed properly, you want the water to leave the pool wall edge. So the patio is probably actually sloping from the house to the south. And when you put a pool in, you got to then try and slope your concrete that goes around the pool away from the pool. So she might have some topography issues with that patio too. So a little bit of placing the pool away from the patio a little bit is just for elevation change to make sure that groundwater doesn't travel into the pool.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I should put my hand up. The whole issue right now is it's a self-created problem. I think if they move the house to the north 2 feet and then make it a 27-foot pool, the problem would be solved, and we wouldn't have to sit here and design somebody's backyard. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah,
So
I would tend to agree. I guess if it depending, I see one image that shows 9 feet, and I show one image that shows 8 feet. So if I were to take the worst case scenario of 8 feet, and if you were to move the pool back 1 foot to the north, leaving it 7 feet, which is is the requirement or the allowable
Minimum.
distance,
Yeah.
right? And then
Correct.
you again, maybe not ideal for everyone, but and you were to shrink that pool to 28, there's your 5 feet, right? 1 foot movement, 4 foot pool size, and then you've got it. Again, I understand that may not be ideal, but it certainly is a possible solution.
So into that, I think, they're going off the recommendation of the pool company in that. So, being that an average size is 16 by 32, I did a little research on that too, just to kind of understand, size, they said 1 swimmer to every 15 square feet is about what you want to have adequate size for the pool. Based on a 16 by 32, that's about 34 swimmers. Now, I get that you want kids in there and you want to give them plenty of room because they're a little more active in the pool, and I understand that. But still, it's 16 by 28. That's still a pretty good sized pool. I have to do the math on that real quick. I'm not real quick on my feet with math, but I'm sure that should still be plenty enough room for the amount of swimmers you want to accommodate.
Yeah, the next size down is a 14 by 28.
So if there's no other discussion, I'm ready to entertain a motion if somebody's ready. If we need more discussion, we can have that.
Yeah, if they're agreeable to that, then they can just withdraw their application, can't they?
I believe so. Karen, is that correct?
I don't see why they couldn't withdraw it, but I'm wondering if we shouldn't finish it out and then we have made a decision on how they have to proceed. You may want to consult with our attorney on that.
I'd rather see a motion made either way, rather than to ask the applicant to withdraw. So a motion to grant or a motion to deny, based on what the board feels. Then you've got final appealable order.
That said, if somebody is prepared for a motion, definitely willing to entertain it at this moment, or unless there needs to be additional discussion, we can have that as well.
I'll make a motion to deny based on the fact that it's a self-created issue and there are other alternatives available to the applicant.
I'll support that.
Karen, if you would, call the roll.
Mr. Jenkins,
Aye.
Mr. Potter,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson, was that an aye? I think you muted Jeff.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mr. Dersch,
Aye.
Mr. Lake.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion carried. And thank you, everybody who got on the call here. All right, now that we are done with the new business, we'll move on to next agenda item, which would be public comment. If anyone would like to make a public comment, just please state your name and address, and we will go from there. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment?
Mr. Chair,
Seeing-
since we would
Yes.
be. Since
Okay.
we were waiting a minute, I just would like to let you know that we did receive an application for the September meeting. Now, we are going to be meeting on Tuesday, September 8th, because that Monday is Labor Day. So we've moved it one day, so it will be Tuesday, September 8th. So we have one item on the agenda at this time. And today was a deadline, so we have one item.
Thank you, Karen. All right, I will open it back up to see if there is any public comment. If there's anyone on the phone that'd like to make a comment, please give your name and address for the record. All right, thank you, Mr. Welling. All right, with that, we'll move on to the next item, which would be board or staff comments. And since Karen already gave some, Karen, is there any other comments or
Nothing at this time.
Jody? Phil? Phil, do you have any comments or?
No, nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
Dennis Kohler?
I have nothing to report.
Dennis Jenkins?
Nothing.
Bob Potter?
Nothing, thank you.
Jeff Wilson?
No additional comment. Thanks.
Kyle Dersch.
No additional comments.
And I have no comments either. If anyone would like to make a motion to adjourn,
I'd make the motion to adjourn the meeting tonight.
any
Support.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.